Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your weekly general tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for all of us, the general energies, trends and themes for the macrocosmic stuff on the wider world stage and the microcosmic stuff for us personally. All of this is obviously infused with and imbued with my personal intuitive message. So every week I go into my intuition and I ask the universe to show me what it is that we need to know as a sort of, it's kind of like, I see it as like a thread that runs through this reading that kind of suggests that there's some other thing playing out for us that we might not be fully aware of as yet. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So this week for our intuitive message, the intuitive message that I actually saw, so like sometimes it's like a little movie that shows up in my mind, sometimes it's a word, a feeling, a thought and an impression, and this time it was like literally I could see, like, you know, in the Formula One thingies, like when they come herring around those corners. And it was like the message that I heard from that was like, this is where you're turning a corner, but you're doing it in style. You're making it look sort of easy. And the message or the words that I heard that accompanied that were, when challenge becomes you, right? So it's kind of like, you know, sometimes when challenge looks good on you effectively. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yes, you're going through a really hard time, but actually you look really great, or you're making it look easy. There's something about this that really speaks to that, and it echoes what came through last week in that perseverance card. So I'm really intrigued by this because it kind of feels like a part two of this whole thing and this whole big saga that we've been playing out. So let's have a look at our destiny card for the week ahead. So I'll pop this here. All right. For this, we've got the gate 60 and limits, right? So this card does speak to limits, limitations, borders, boundaries. It's a very Saturnian energy, actually. Interestingly enough as well, this gate in human design resides in the sign of Capricorn. So very, very appropriate, right? And what's really interesting about this is Pluto is currently in the gate 60 in the human design system. And what this suggests is Pluto, the energy of death, transformation, transition, movement, moving beyond, breaking out of, or finding the true potential in limits, right? In limitations. And one of the examples that I love to give with this card, it's like, you know, when you see those little doggies, they've had like a spinal injury, or, you know, they're incapacitated in some way and the owner couldn't bear to put them down. So they get one of those like little wheel things made up for their back half. Do you think that dog sits there and says, oh, you know, look at me, my spine is crushed, I'll never use my legs again? They run around happy as Larry, tongue flapping in the wind, ears going, all sorts. And this card actually basically says, yes, there may be limitations this week, but it's about learning to play within the confines of what those limitations are, and still managing to succeed, right? And it's the truth of the matter is, human beings, as much as it sucks, right, we grow by adversity. And so this week, whatever the challenges are that show up for you, embrace them, because the chances are they're the very thing that's going to provide you with the fertile soil that you need in order to truly succeed. All right, so tap into this by tapping into the greatest reserve of yourself. All right, you're going to discover a newfound sense of strength this week. And I would wager that at some point someone says to all of us, like, damn, like, I know you're having a hard time with this, but you make it look really good. All right, like, I'll take it. It works for me. For our direction cards, how do we best tap into this? We've got the Two of Swords. This is crazy, right? In 2 weeks ago, when I did the reading for the weekly general, the Magician card showed up. Last week, the Magician card showed up. Now, and also one of the cards that showed up in this particular part of the read, the Two of Swords, also showed up. So it's really weird. It's almost like there's this sort of larger theme that is kind of permeating all of this. We've got this with the Emperor, and we've got this with the Ten of Wands, right? So this is about some kind of fairness, some kind of balance, or some kind of redressing of power with an authority figure in our lives that allows us to finally move on or move forward. This, for a lot of you, I actually think is going to play out with some kind of paperwork, documentation that you've been waiting for, whether it's legal in nature, maybe it pertains to school or your work, maybe for some of you this pertains to your home. Wherever you've had problems or issues with authority figures and or contracts or all of the above, this week you are going to see some kind of movement and development on it. And I wouldn't be surprised if in some regards, the person or the gatekeeper that has been the limiting factor or force in your life is actually removed from your life in some way, shape or form. So the Two of Swords, that's the redressing and the balance. And you've got this here with the Emperor, which also suggests that your own spiritual authority and or sovereignty and or intuitive faculty is going to be really very high over this next fortnight. So you know, whatever comes up, listen to it, because it will be sharing something probably quite important or quite great with you. The other thing with that Ten of Wands, on the macrocosmic level, so on the wider world stage, there's going to be some, and this, you know, we see this a lot, right? Politicians, heads of companies, people that are in the limelight because they've done something, you know, big or whatever, you know, they have recognition, fame or whatever. This week, we're going to see someone try to talk at us, right? You know, where someone kind of like really, it's like that whole thing. Like, I don't really like the Kardashians. I've never really been into that whole hype, to be honest. If you love them, you do you, boo. No hatred, no hate, whatever. But it's like, I don't know if you saw, I think it was a year ago, I don't even remember. I just remember seeing the clip online and thinking, bitch, coming from you, this is damn rich, right? You being out here. And she was like, it seems like nobody wants to work hard. Like, nobody wants to work. I'm sorry, what exactly is it that you do? Like, don't even get me, like, because if I start. But do you see what I mean? It's like this week, we're probably going to see some, you know, authority figure, person in the limelight, possibly even a politician, who's going to talk at us and try to really impose some kind of idea. And I got to be honest with you, it looks like it's going to go down like a lead balloon. Yeah, so there's that. For our insight cards, if we could see around corners, which with tarot and astrology we can, if we could see around corners, or what do we need to know that maybe we're not aware of at this moment in time? In terms of the insight cards this week, we have the Seven of Wands. This is so weird, right? You can see I'm using different decks. I'm shuffling in front of you. This card came up in exactly the same position last week. You know, I'm just kind of a bit like flabbergasted, to be fair, because, okay, tarot has some persistent messages that he's trying to get across. With the Five of Wands and the Justice card, right? So there's a few ways that this plays out. So look at this. We've got the nodes have shown up here because you've got the King, the Emperor, that's Aries. You've got Libra, that's the Justice card. So the nodes, the nodal shift that's taking place this week, I believe, has shown up here, which is, was it this week? I'm not sure if, I think it's already happened. Around this time we're having the nodal shift, right? So very interesting that this should be happening now, and that these cards are coming through. The Seven of Wands with the Five of Wands does suggest that there's going to be some kind of group battle that shows up. This could be in terms of, like, on the wider world stage, this could see an exacerbation of the war stuff, right? The thing that's going on with the Ukraine, etc. This could be like a flare up around this, but it will have something to do with what looks like a rogue group, and I don't think it is. I actually think that whatever this group is, they've been instructed to do something, and it's kind of like, you know, we know how this stuff works, but in the corridors of power, it's like they expect a team to go in and do a certain thing, and it's like, well, you know, if you fail, we're going to disown, disavow, just distance ourselves from you. So it's basically you either succeed or, you know, you fucked your own life. We know that that kind of stuff happens. You know, they'll never admit to it, but we know it happens. The fact that we've got this triplet then, that 7 of Wands with the 5 of Wands, this is a rogue group of some sort. I would say that this is also potentially a clash within either the entertainment sector. And I know a while back we had the Writers Guild, they all walked out, didn't they, because they were unhappy with their treatment and their payment. So there's that. But this could also be within literally either the military kind of sector, right? The Emperor is the military, the police, etc. The police, the police, Raf, the police. It could be within the legal sector in some regard. This is a faction system that's starting to kick in. We're going to see a big divide this week on the wider world stage. It will be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, on the more microcosmic personal level, be very mindful of any and all group associations and situations that you're tied to this week, because it looks like it's kind of like one of those things where it's like guilty by association. Something could kick off with let's say you go out with a group of friends, one of them gets into a fight, and then everybody else starts whiling out and you're just stood there sipping your drink, but then you all go down together. This could be that kind of thing, so just be mindful of this. Now, because we've got the Justice card here, which is signing on the dotted line and or any legal matters and or situations, be very, very conscious of the groups that you're tied to, because they could be the limiting factor in some kind of movement and or success for you. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up, or let me know what happens on the wider world stage that shows up here. With that said, I wish you all of the best. Take care, and I'll see you soon.